Hello, this is Holiday Cheer, and welcome to a brand new, exciting series for all of October. We're going to be doing something very special. Welcome to the Witching Hour, a series in which we're going to read a book that is somewhat spooky and probably somewhat not that spooky, but the story behind this book is very spooky. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be playing some happy little autumn games to start off and moving more and more into spooky games as we get closer and closer to the spooky season. Well, the spooky day, October 31st, Halloween. The spooky season started about a month ago, but we're into October now, and it's serious business. So, first of all, the book we're going to read is a Hardy Boys mystery, and it's called The WITCHMASTER'S Key. It's number 55 in the series. It's a Hardy Boys mystery, so it's from a mystery series written for younger folks. So it's not exactly going to be like the most horror story we could possibly read. But if we do finish this before the end of October, which is very likely, we'll read some other scary stories as well. Maybe that will be a nice thing. But I will put a picture of this up eventually, this book up. But there is some lore behind this. The Witchmaster is real, and he is terrifying. And you don't want to mess with the Witchmaster. That's very important. That's why you shouldn't read this book. This book is cursed, and by reading this, I am invoking the curse of the Witchmaster. So that's what's really scary here. So that's why this is the Witching Hour. So without further ado, we're going to start at Chapter 1 of the Hardy Boys, number 55, The Witchmaster's Key, and it's called A Spooky Funeral. And you're going to hear my voice change because this isn't really my real speaking voice. It's my Holiday Cheer speaking voice, but anyone who's watched any of my videos knows that. As the giant jet hissed towards London, Joe Hardy looked out the window at the flaming sunrise. "Frank," he said to his brother, "have you made out a tale of this mission?" "Negative. I couldn't get a solid clue out of Dad. His phone call from California was so hurried." "Could it be he's putting us on?" Joe shrugged. "It wouldn't be like him to send us out in a transatlantic wild goose chase. But it all happened too fast. Not a hint except that we're to help his old friend Professor Chauncey Rowbottom in any way we can." Airline seats were hard to get at this time of year, so the Hardys had taken the first available flight. Even though the professor would be away lecturing for another day or two, and only he could brief them properly on their mission. The boys were used to mysteries. They often helped their father, Fenton Hardy, the famous private investigator, but they had never been so confused at the start of a case as they were this time. Frank and Joe had established their reputation by solving the case of the Tower Treasure. Their latest, known as the Mysterious Caravan, recently took the boys to Morocco. Now what awaited them in England? Blonde, 17-year-old Joe winced, pressing his hand against his cheek. That aching wisdom tooth again?" asked Frank, who was dark-haired and a year older. "Oh. Yes, I should have had it pulled before we left JFK. So, the Hardy Boys are that old. I thought they were younger. "Hang in there, we'll find you a good English dentist," trying to distract his brother, Frank went on. "What's your guess about this caper? Forgery? Bank robbery? Missing person? Murder?" "Maybe old books," Joe tried to smile. "Professor Rowbottom lectures at Cambridge. Perhaps somebody walked off with his Shakespeare collection." "Could be. Anyhow, we'll know when we get to Griffinmore and East Anglia." Okay, Griffinmore is very similar to Gryffindor. Joe rubbed his jaw gingerly. "Luckily, we don't have to see the professor for 2 days. That'll give me a chance to get this tooth pulled." The gentle thud of unlimbering wheels signaled the approach of London Airport, and the jet came in for a smooth landing. Passengers yawned and stretched, then filed off the plane. Joe wrestled with their baggage through the customs while Frank hired a car at the booth in the terminal. "We'd better get used to driving on the left side of the road," Frank remarked as he slid behind the wheel. "That's for sure," Joe answered. "We don't want to bump heads with some guy coming the other way." Following the signs, Frank eased the car through the roaring London traffic. Near the center of the city, they passed a number of vintage automobiles which bore colorful flags and triangular insignia on shields, which crossed arrows and star clusters. Who were they? Frank wondered. Joe peered back. Oh, I got the voices backwards. London Motor Club. Must be headed for a car show. Reaching the outskirts of London, Frank stepped on the gas. They sped through the countryside of East Anglia beyond the town of Chelmsford. At Colchester, they turned left along the road leading to Ipswich on the north. Just before Norwich, Frank veered east while Joe picked out the route in the map spread across his knees. We're in Norfolk County, he said. Griffinmore can't be far now. So, you'll have to forgive me if I butcher these English names. The car rolled over broad level plains as small hamlets and big farms slipped by. The boys crossed rickety wooden bridges and over slowly meandering streams where windmills stood on the banks, and their sails revolving lazily in the breeze. Chickens fluttered away from the car wheels, clucking in fright. Joe broke the silence. This is the lowest part of England. Any lower and we'd be under water. Outside Griffinmore, Frank eased to a stop and let a funeral procession cross the narrow road. The mourners were strange-looking people, wearing bedraggled clothes. 6 men carried a rough-hewn black coffin on their shoulders, while an unkempt woman followed behind it with a black cat in her arms. The leader of the procession was a man with a heavy stock of gray hair and a bushy beard. He carried a sword upright in both hands. The mourners crossed the road in silence. Then they entered the woods on the opposite side of the road and started to chant, "Abracadabra, abracadabra, cast a spell, cast a spell." Frank glanced at his brother. "This is worth a look-see." "I'll say so," Joe agreed. Frank ran in the car behind the clump of trees, and they got out. Creeping through the woods, they followed the funeral procession into an ancient churchyard cemetery high on a hill overlooking Griffinmore. Weeds covered the graves, and the headstones were chipped. The nearby church was weather-beaten and deserted. The Hardys watched from behind a moss-covered tomb while the mourners placed the coffin in an open grave. The leader walked around it 3 times, pointing at the coffin with his sword. He then struck it 3 blows with the blade. The group began to sway from side to side, chanting eerily, "Power of land and surge of sea, light of moon and might of sun, do as we will and let it be. Chant the spell and it is done." And we'll leave off there for the first edition of the Witching Hour. I hope that set a nice tone for our day. We're going to play some little autumn games, and the first one I have up is a nice little delightful game called Autumn Walk. So enjoy that, and we'll see you soon. Hello, and here we are at the first of our many autumn games. This is called Autumn Walk. It's just called just play. So we're this fox. And I guess we're trying to... Oh, it's just... Okay, we're just going back and forth. Am I collecting the... Oh. If I hit the twigs, I lose. Okay, so return. Oh, I have to hit the return key or the space key? No. So I don't know how to go back on this. There's no... I might have to just... No, it is the backspace. So we want to avoid the branches. Sometimes you can't avoid them, though. That... I guess we're just trying to get as far as we can. Oh, I had to hit that one. Oh, 16. So it's backspace. Okay, so this is just nice and peaceful in this music, and I guess we get a couple lives. We really gotta watch when they disappear. So this is nice and peaceful, right? The autumn leaves are falling. So happy October 1st to you. Hope you enjoy this segment of my channel. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff. I'll be playing some other spooky games probably for fun and doing some better game highlights, but this is just kind of my daily thing, reading a little bit from the WITCHMASTER'S Key, and I hope you find that book entertaining and enjoyable. I find it enjoyable. This is pretty simple, honestly. There we go. This is all about timing. I really like the WITCHMASTER'S Key. I've never read it before. Actually, I'm reading it the first time, but it sets a nice tone. And it is a cursed book. It is. I thoroughly believe that book is evil and cursed, and there's a real Witchmaster. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun and spooky season. If you want to learn more about the Witchmaster, check out my friend Slabs4 channel. He on YouTube, he's made several videos about the Witchmaster. And you don't want to mess with it. I'm gonna stop talking about him because he gives me the creeps. This is such a nice, peaceful game. You know, we have 3 hits. I see. We have those hearts at the top are our hits. So we hit. Yeah, that was close enough to hit one. We can go this way. I tend to not go left. I don't know why. Oh no, I went the wrong way. Yeah, okay. Well, we got to like 65. This is a nice game though. It's just called Autumn Walk. So if you, I'm getting the majority of these games I'm playing are going to be downloaded from itch.io, which is a great source of. There's a lot of spooky games on there. We're going to be playing a lot of spooky games later in the season, as we get closer to our actual day. So check out itch.io. There's a lot. Most of the games are free, and almost all the games are free. And some of the people ask that you donate. You know, give them a donation because they did work hard. They put their time and effort into making these things. But this is pretty simple. This is actually very simple. This is actually hardly what I would call a game. We're gonna play some more complex games than this, but this is a good thing to start off with for the beginning of October. This is about all. I think I'm gonna try to die one more time. I mean, I'm not gonna try to die, but you know, I'd rather die anywhere else. I hope you enjoy a weird autumn this year. Your October is nice. I'm gonna try to get my high score. We're down to 1. We're not gonna make it, I don't think. We got to 65 the one time. Oh, I think I'm done right here. Yep, there we go, 33. Okay, game over. Thank you all so much for checking this out with me, and we'll see you next tomorrow. Well, tomorrow and today for the next episode of the Witching Hour. 1 video a day, all October.